Do you ever get to the point where you just cannot stop a particular thought in your head, and it just gnaws and eats away at you for flipping ages? And sadly, when you're recovering from a mental health challenge, such as self-sabotage and other associated issues, these persistent thoughts tend to be quite negative. So if this is you and if you can relate to this, then stick with me. I'm going to give you what I hope will be a helpful strategy to begin to try out. Now, wearing a hat, because it's 35 degrees in the sun here in Fiji, it's warm. It's great, I love it. But okay, so these negative thoughts. One of the challenges you have when you, in my particular case, are a recovering self-sabotager, self-saboteur, is that it's very difficult to sometimes get out of a negative spiral. You come up with a negative thought and your brain just stays there no matter what you seem to try and do. Now, one of the things I've learned over the last couple of years or so is that you really do get more of what you think about. Your subconscious will go to work in the background. If you're thinking about negative stuff, you tend to see more negative stuff. You tend to experience more negative stuff. You literally program what's happening through your thinking. So what can we do about this negative bias, which you can look it up? There is a negative bias out there. Well, one of the first things that I've learned to do, and I strongly recommend to do, is to realize that actually this is happening. And it's kind of like catching yourself in, doing something you don't particularly like. The moment you begin to realize your thinking and how it's going, the easier it is to start to improve your life. But it all starts with recognizing your thinking. If you've got a persistent thought which is dragging you down, making you miserable, making it hard to see the good things, stop and recognize that it's there. The next thing I recommend doing is trying to find something funny, something that's going to make you laugh, something that's going to make you smile, or something that's going to make you feel good. So in my particular case, I've created a video montage of my daughters and I. And every time I watch it, it makes me smile, it makes me feel good. And that then begins to arrest or adjust the negative thinking that I'm experiencing. Now, it doesn't necessarily take it away, but it starts to reframe my mind to something considerably more positive than whatever it is that's been getting to me and driving me nuts and causing me to be so negative. If you don't have that, I strongly recommend watching some comedy. A particular favourite comedian or a TV show that makes you laugh. What we're trying to do is we're trying to trip up our thought processes here in favour of something a little more positive, a little more upbeat, something more cheerful. It's very difficult to shift negative bias. But what you can do is to give your subconscious a nudge to begin to think about more cheerful stuff, more positive stuff. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes to start to chip away at your subconscious, to start chip away at the negative bias. Now, as with most of these things, and I've said this over and over again, it probably won't be easy. So easy these days to get into a negative spiral. One of the things I've done is stopped watching the news, because you rarely see good stuff on the news. It's rarely any good news in the news. So begin to adjust the way you think. Recognize that you've got a particular thought pattern going on, and then give yourself the opportunity to begin to adjust that. Get into something a little more positive, You know, look at a photograph album, photographs of your family, your kids, or whenever it was you had a good time and enjoyed yourself in the moment. Look at it, allow yourself to feel good about it. Allow yourself to be happy about what happened back then. God, I don't need the hat on now. Because when you start doing this, you start telling your subconscious, yes, actually, there are good things in my life. There are positive things in my life. And I've got some reasons to be happy. Because like I said, you get more of what you think about. And if you're constantly dwelling on the negative, sadly, your subconscious just wants to give you more of that. And that's what you get. So to sum it up, if you've got a persistent negative thought, think about how you can begin to find something a little more cheerful, find something a little more positive. Give your subconscious a nudge in a positive, happy, feel-good direction. It's not a cure-all, but it does work, and with persistent effort, it will begin to make a difference. And I do mean persistent effort. It's taken me a while, but every time I start to feel down, I watch my video of my daughters, and it's just a photo slideshow that I've created with some uplifting background music. Sometimes I watch some comedy. I've been watching Yes Minister on Yes Prime Minister, which I've always found incredibly funny, makes me laugh out loud. Also like watching Bill Bailey and Milton Jones, so there's some examples for you if you like comedy. So the key is this: give yourself a chance to feel happier. Give your subconscious a nudge in a more positive and uplifting direction. And you can do this deliberately. Yes, your subconscious has been programmed on your whole life to think in a certain way, but that doesn't mean you can't start to chip away at its negative bias. And if you want to look up negative bias, I recommend that you do. I know that I've got a negative bias typically, and I'm working on changing that. So I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, please ask in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. It would be good to hear from you and good to have you on board.